only get a few minutes a night to talk about the forecast, and in my opinion, I think we gloss over the low temperature a little bit too much. You see, if you track trends over recent decades, the low temperature has a pretty interesting story to tell. That's this week's Heather's Weather Wise. In a typical 24-hour period, the low temperature occurs just before sunrise. Under the right conditions, the dark of night allows temperatures to drop overnight before the sun comes up to start heating things up all over again. In the last decade or so, there have been far more low temperatures landing on the warm side than the cold side, and that's at any time of the year. Here's some more recent data for Buffalo. What I did was take the average low temperature for each month and compare it to what's normal for the low temperature for each month. Only 2 months out of the last year finished below normal. That was this past February, of course you remember how cold that was, and last May, where we had snow Mother's Day weekend. But look at all of the months that finished above normal, specifically November and January. Both of those months had low temperatures average 6 degrees warmer than normal. We'll come back to why that's important. It's not just this year that's had unusually mild nights. Climate change is shifting trends here and all over the world. Earth's global average temperature has been rising. Most people probably think of daytime heat in this storyline, but low temperatures are contributing more to global temperature rises than afternoon highs. According to NOAA, the rate of warming is 20% faster for low temperatures compared to high temperatures. So how does climate change connect to rising low temperatures? Well, it's a little bit of a cycle. The atmosphere itself has been warming. A warmer atmosphere is able to hold on to more moisture. If the air has more moisture, it heats and cools more slowly than an atmosphere that would be a little bit drier would. That means that overnight, without the sun doing its thing, temperatures are cooling, but they're not cooling quite as much. Added moisture also tends to mean more average cloud cover. Clouds also help prevent dramatic overnight cooling by keeping daytime solar energy close to the ground instead of it just escaping out into space. And all of those factors I just talked about are having an effect here in Buffalo. I used National Weather Service data to go back 50 years, and I found that our lowest temperature of the entire year has actually increased 5 degrees in that 50-year period. And I know what you're thinking. Great, less extreme cold. The extreme cold is what hurts. Well, it's not just the extremes that are rising. The more moderate chilly nights are getting warmer as well. This graphic from Climate Central shows that since 1970, Buffalo is having 14 fewer nights drop below freezing. That means less lake ice, a weaker snowpack, and more melting days when we do get good snow. I know that's not something snowmobilers want to hear. Nighttime warming is happening year-round, but of course the effects that we're seeing in the winter are very different from the effects that we would feel from warmer nights in the summer. I'm going to get to that in next week's Heather's Weather Wise. I'll see you then, but until then, remember it's good to be a geek.